Hello everybody, it's the Mad Reiner back for another Snapshot video. So the first thing we have is the new block called the barrier. The barrier, like the command block, is only accessible by command. So just give @P for nearest player, or you can do your name yourself right there, and then barrier. So barriers are completely invisible, create an obstacle, and are invincible like bedrock. So just to demonstrate that, we're going to place this barrier here. Press the button, TNT stays in place, it will blow up and all the barriers will stay, and like you just saw, they're broken, they give lava particles. I believe that is a glitch. And with adventure mode, it makes them completely invisible, so you're just being stopped by an invisible block. You can't see them at all. And that's because the hitboxes are invisible. Next, we have a really cool feature, Spectator mode. This allows you to no-clip, fly very, very fast simply by using your scroll bar. So if you look back, we're flying very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and slow that down a bit. And also you can get the perspectives of different mobs simply by clicking on them. Not left click, but right click. So there are a couple interesting ones like the fireball. If you spectate it, you look straight up. And there are a lot of interesting things. Iron Golem, this has a bit of a rock to him if we can get the perspective. Here, you can see he kind of moves with a bit of a rock. You can't really see it very well here. There aren't a ton of interesting ones. There are two really cool ones. There's the creeper, there's the spider, and there is the enderman. But all of them were killed by this guy over here. So, now the other thing is we can't interact with the button, so I have this on a timer. As you can see, I can't press this button. I'll actually no-clip through it. You can't activate spawners, anything that you don't want a spectator to do because they could interfere with the game. I don't actually have an inventory, I have a head, but if I click on, well, if I did click on that, nothing would have happened. So let's go ahead. I'm surprised, but the creepers all disappeared, so let's summon a creeper here. Creeper. No. Not a chicken. Not a chicken. Creeper. And you can go into spectator mode by going game mode spectator, game mode SP, or game mode 3. I like SP because it's more descriptive. It makes it simple. So creeper is pixelated and this green looking background thing. So that's pretty cool. If we summon a spider, summon spider. I'm pressing tab to go through this if you guys didn't know that. Oh, I just passed it. SP. Spiders have a very interesting one. It creates the idea that spiders have 8 eyes all looking in different directions. It's kind of a dizzying perspective here. And finally, I couldn't really catch this guy, so I had to use a dispenser. So let's just go back into game mode creative real quick. And if we press this, let's try and latch onto the enderman. You can see inverted colors and you can watch it while it teleports. It actually turns you when the entity moves as well. I did find an exception with the creeper though. He didn't seem to really do that. He was looking one way, but your perspective was always locked this way. Next, there's some interesting book mechanics. So written books used to be able to be stacked. Now it's not exactly the case, but it still kind of is. So first, let's write a book, call it high, title it high, sign and close. Now when we look at this here, it says it is the original, so there's an additional tooltip there. But let's try and start copying it. So when we copy it the first time, it's going to create one that has the tooltip of copy of original. Copy of original and the original are not stacked. They have different lores. However, if we make a second copy of the original, it does stack. So copies of the original can stack, but the original cannot stack with them. But let's say we want to make another copy of this, right? We get a copy of a copy. Now the copy of a copy can't stack with a copy of original, etc. And then here's the interesting thing. Copy of a copy. Here we go. Okay. Copy of a copy. Alright, this looks a bit glitched here. Yeah, sometimes it can't only stack. Next, if we make a copy of a copy of a copy, nothing happens. You can't copy beyond that point. Well, it's kind of weird mechanics, but it's kind of interesting. I don't really know the practical use for that, but that way you can know which book was actually written and which one was actually just a copy of it. And the final thing in the snapshot, it was kind of short, but the spectator mode really took a lot of time, was F3 got completely revamped. So beside you already saw a big change with like the axes last time in the bolding directions. Now it's not. Now the bolding X and Z kind of went away, but if you notice, it's actually readable. So the top is still all weird, but that can give you some information like how many entities there are in an area and stuff like that. The interesting thing is like feet, X, and then it has the X, the Y, and the Z instead. I mean, it used to be X, there's a number in parentheses, and there's a number in brackets, and that was extremely confusing. So feet is the feet position, that's your exact position. It goes down to the hundredth of a block for the Y. It's even more accurate than that. Block is the actual block you are in, so it only goes to the nearest block, basically, so it kind of rounds up or rounds down. That's what you want to use for command blocks, and that's what you want to use for actually finding your position. You don't want to use the feet. As you can see, I'm in block 406, but feet is actually in 405. And then the chunk is the coordinates within the chunk. This is how you tell what chunk you're in, is that at 0 is the very beginning of the chunk, but then the next 3 coordinates past it are what chunk you're in. So when I move here, you can see that it went from -26 to -27, because this right here is a chunk border. So that makes it a lot more readable. They actually have text. I heard, though, that they got rid of some information, but really all the necessary information is still there, and that's very helpful. And with it being so readable, that's just really nice. And like facing west towards -X, I don't know. I like that 3 screen. The only thing is, like, sometimes when you're in PvP, you want to know where other players' coordinates are. So when it's the weird axie thing, when you're, swinging a sword or whatever, it can be really weird. But I think the benefits outweigh that slight disadvantage. That's about it for the Snapshot. Really cool spectator mode. That's going to have a lot of uses. The book's just a little interesting thing, and then the revamped F3. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below or on Twitter @TheMadRhiner. And I'm out of here. Goodbye.